Earnings are definitely going to be really, really, really scary this quarter. So here's my prediction. Here's my prediction. My prediction is that a lot of companies will lower their earnings. Watch this, y'all. See, Jose, I like to say stuff so that people can, like, write it down, and then I know they be tweaking to say, you was wrong, Trap. Know they be tweaking to say, you was wrong. But here's what I want you to understand. A lot of companies will lower their guidance. And because they're going to lower their guidance, watch this. They're going to lower guidance, and this time around when they lower guidance, the market might not reward them. Here's why. Remember earlier I talked about inflated earnings. Right? We talked about inflated earnings. Now, over the last couple quarters, what's been happening was because companies were lowering guidance and the market was still rewarding those companies for hitting those lower guidance, right? The market was rewarding companies for lowering guidance and hitting it. Now, normally the market never does that. In a proper cycle, the market will not reward a company that lowers guidance, right? The market will not reward a company that lowers guidance, right? So, guidance means that a company is saying, hey, remember I told you, the market is a what? What is the market? A forward-looking mechanism, right? So every quarter, the company has to say, hey, this is what we did this quarter. This is what we were going to do next quarter based on what we did this quarter. Based on the numbers that we see here, here's our estimation that we were going to do next quarter. So over the next 90 days, we're going to do this. That makes sense to everybody? Listen, I think I'm a pretty good teacher, man. But you're going to teach like this if you love this game. You know what I'm saying? You're going to teach like this if you love the game, right? So here's what the market's going to do. Now, we talked all that, and the reason why I told you that. So the market is a forward-looking mechanism. So even companies and their owners, they have to say, this is what we did this quarter, whether good or bad. Whether good or bad, this is what we did this quarter. Based on these estimates, here's what I think we're capable of doing next quarter. Normally, when you lower guidance, the market does not reward you. Over the last few quarters, once inflation got really high, the market still rewarded companies for doing that. Now, here's what I think is going to happen. Based on numbers. This off the top of my head, too, because I play the game. Normally, the revenue coming out of the S&P this quarter is expected to be at 8%. Meaning a company, on average, like all the companies in the S&P 500, on average, their revenue is expected to go up 8%. Does that make sense? On average, right? So remember, the market is based on stats and data, right? The market is based on stats and data, right? That's how they can tell things. So this quarter, they're expecting companies' revenue to grow by 8%. That is the lowest it's been since 2020. On average, the expectation is the average is the expectation for companies in the S&P 500 to grow their revenue by 10%. My team tripping, they like, yo, he doing it on top of his head right now. My team like, yo, he doing it on top of his head right now. That's fact. Dave, I'm like that. I'm like that, Dave. That's because Ozzy got them goddamn brown shoes on. When he got the brown shoes on, I'm in my bag. You know this. Right? So, on average, the S&P expects companies to grow revenue. Let me say this. On average, companies in the S&P 500 grow their revenue by 10%. That's average. That's average. They're expecting it to grow by 8% this quarter, which means that's a 2% decline. They haven't saw that since 2020. Okay, let me dig a little deeper though. Now I'm gonna go deeper. No slide. My team about to blow their head. They're like, yo, he really got the numbers in his head like that. Check it out. I should have been like, one of the things that inspired me was when Malcolm X, I watched it's one of my favorite biographies to watch, when the dude told Malcolm X, do it in your head. Don't write the numbers on paper. Do it in your head, don't write the numbers on paper. Now, I'm not saying I don't write some of the numbers on paper, but I be knowing a lot of numbers on paper, a lot in my head. Check this out. Earnings, on average, the earnings this quarter is expected to grow by 5%. That is the lowest it has been since Q3 2020. Q3. Now, the reason behind this is this. The biggest impact that is causing this, is labor costs quarterly. Labor costs, supply chain issues, and inflation. Labor costs, supply chain issues, and inflation. Okay? Why is that eating away profit? Well, one, because what it's costing people to ship work now is eating away at profit. What I used to have was profit, now I gotta pay for it in shipping costs, right? Gas, that's eating away profit, right? Supply chain issues because of the China lockdown. Inflation issues because the dollar is so strong. Companies that have markets and companies that have strong footprints in other international markets, because those markets now, this is fucking good. God damn, this is good, bro. You feel me? This is good, bro. Right? So, because the dollar is so strong, this is why you gotta tap in every week, because I broke down what a strong dollar means, right? So because the dollar is so strong, companies who have international strongholds or have international strong footprints, now because their dollar is weaker, right? They gotta pump more. Inflation, supply chain issues, labor costs. If my company has a strong foothold in China and all these other places, now the import-export. Remember I said it the other week, gee, you got something, Jose, you got something, I got something, Tootie got something, it's gonna cost you a little bit more to get it over here. All of this now takes a place. All of this now takes away from earnings that a company has in the U.S. So we're talking about import-export costs. We're talking about supply chain issues being jammed. We're talking about labor costs. All of these things do one thing and one thing for sure. They take away bottom line profits. And now I don't think the market is going to reward those companies for that. Here's why. All right? I'm cooking. I'm feeling good right now. Right? The one thing we realize is in the market where there has wiggle room, we good. But now when everybody's on edge, certain things don't get rewarded no more. Every economic cycle rewards something different. economic cycle rewards something different. All right, so let's talk about the economic cycles right quick. All right, let's talk about the economic cycles right quick. So first you got what's called expansion. So that's the growth phase. Growth phase, expansion. That's when the economy is growing. It's when the economy is growing. Right? We're talking about expansion. Now, from expansion, this is when your tech companies do really, really good. And then from expansion, you go to peak cycle. Peak cycle is when everybody's just like, okay, it's like when you blow a balloon up, and then it comes to a point where the balloon is blown up, you say, hey, it's about to bust. But you try to get that last, how many people did that before? You did that before, cuz? Like you blow a balloon up, you know it's about to bust, and you're like, right? And then you look, and then you look at somebody, it's about to bust. Joe, it's about to bust, it's about to bust, it's about to bust. Man, hit it again, that's me. Hit it again. Hit it again. So you know about to bust, so you don't give it the full, do that. Right, look, you know about the bust, so you don't give it the, you give it the. So that's the peak cycle. So you have certain companies that do well in that cycle. Now, check this out. Once we get the peak cycle, it busts. Boom. From peak cycle, we go to recession. We go to recession. But watch this. There's another cycle after that. It's called trough. Gotcha, cuz. It's called trough. Trough is the cycle underneath the recession. That's when you can fall into a deep recession, maybe even depression. So when you on the TV and you hear them say from peak to trough, they're talking about from the beginning of the business cycle to the end of the business cycle. God. Man, what my other one at?
And I'ma keep grinding cause I love this shit.
Hey, man. Hey, we just went to class just now. We just went to class just now. Yay! We just went to class just now. Now, where you gonna get this at? Nowhere. Man, hit the like button for me right quick, man. I ain't even gonna lie, man. Hit the like button for that one right quick, man. I ain't even gonna lie.